what's your passion? What drives you every single day to do what you do? So let me take that with Sukhbir first.
First of all, let me thank you to have us here. What's our passion? I would say always it's as a founder to do something different. Many times as a founder, we start companies,
right?
And you might have noticed everything we do in those companies, they're only maybe slightly 1% different than what somebody else offered before. But that slightly whatever else is different, that sometimes transforms so many lives. How people use things, how people use technology, and how we do our daily activities. For a very simple example is something like Uber. Before Uber came into picture, if many people would have given that same pitch to other people and that thought that this is cannot work. There are cabs everywhere. People want cabs. But if you see the difference between cab and Uber, it's only a minor change, but it transformed the whole industry and transformed how we use transportation.
Right.
And I would say it's the same thing drives that, even if we make a minor improvement in a process or life, we can give a lot back to the humanity.
That's just amazing. Yeah, I think very well said. Amanda, I'll put the same question to you as well. What drives you every day? What's your passion?
Sure. And thank you for having us, Ramesh. And also thank you to the MTX group, our friends at MTX group, for nominating us to participate in this event. I think my passion kind of goes along with Sukhbir. I've known for 20 years now, and I think it's definitely the humanitarian inspiration, and also combined with side. Reason echo is on my side.
Right.
See.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So I think definitely that when we started off initially with our first company, we were trying to figure out really what we want to do, and it took us a couple of tries to get it right. And that's where our products came from. And I think the combined with our business skills, technical, and the inspiration of giving back, we came up with the really important products such as accessibility. And that drive, I think, starting off as a driven person with both of us, and I think it made it easier to keep going.
No, that's very interesting. So, again, this is all virtual meetings. We understand a little bit of hiccups here and there, and so it gets better. So, Sukhbir, I'm a bit interested in learning about your background, and now I know you're born in India and moved here when you were 23. So can you talk a little bit about where exactly, which part of India you're born, and your parents are into business, or how did you start your journey into business?
Sure, thanks. It's a part of my life where I actually myself didn't know what I'm going to do with my life when I was growing up. My parents are not entrepreneurs. I was born in India. I was born in Sion. If people who are familiar with India, Sion, the Ravi, it's the biggest slum in Asia, and I believe it's just second to the biggest slum in the world. My dad was working as a valet person, making somewhere about $200-300 salary a month if you kind of compute to US standards. And growing up, we didn't know what exactly to do. The funny part is we always thought that the kids of rich people will only become managers. We will only become people who will end up doing odd jobs. And everybody around where I was, the the ultimate job of people was to drive cabs. And yeah, so that's where, pretty much we started. Somehow we were a little lucky in the sense that I made a friend, and we were really we were driven towards academics. We would spend time together. Whatever I was not good at, he would help me to get good at. Whatever he was not good at, I would help him to get good at. And we kept pulling each other till we graduated from high school. And when we realized that we got admission in engineering college, and we didn't even know how we were going to make it there. So I would say, some coincidences to meet a friend like that who helped me, who kept pushing me all along. I kind of dictate that to, people who I met along my way, not only when I was growing, even afterwards. They became an integral part of my success in one form or the other. You're on mute. I think you're still on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Because the three people are doing it here, we need to be mute to just so we don't have echo. Sorry about that. So your journey into computer science, I know you started in undergrad. Was that also a coincidence, or you just you wanted to do computer science from the get-go?
Oh no, my journey did not start as a computer science. That's the funniest part. I didn't even know there was something called as computer science when I graduated from high school. There were obviously different engineering divisions, but one which really interested me was electronics engineering. It's a funny story. What drew me towards that was when we were in high school, we had a professor who was really good at explaining things, make us understand the concept instead of trying to just get good grades. So we were 16, 17-year-old. He helped, and this was, I'm talking about 1993. So he helped me and a few other fellows to make a automatic street light, which will automatically light up when it's darkness outside and automatically go off when it's daytime outside. Wow. And we submitted that for a science project, 16, 17-year-old, really impressed by what it does, right? Many people thought it's fake, somebody's pushing a button, but it was based on an LDR, which was detecting light intensity. And that got me interested in electronics. And I thought I can build fancy things like those, and that's basically got me started. My master's, I was in computer science, because by the time I was graduating from engineering, I figured out what I really wanted to do. And then it was easy enough for me to pivot towards computer science from that point onwards, and I would say the rest is history.
Fantastic. No, that's it's always interesting, how entrepreneurs really start their journeys, it's very fascinating to see how they really take up, come from different backgrounds and start something completely different. So yeah, that's something very good to hear. But let's get to the topic of the day, which is how a pandemic actually changed, or actually made Addteq healthier. Right. So, we are living in tough times for the last 2 years. Companies were faced with challenges, personal loss for a lot of people. But I am always interested in learning how companies are really building, their teams, their cultures to make, even better in what certain things that they did. So, why don't you just talk about that and let us know what certain things that you did at Addteq.
So, Addteq as a company, we always promote being healthy. We always promoted to not only employees, management, everybody. Then go to the gym and our payroll plan comes with a gym membership. Even if all you got to do is show up, you don't have to pay anything for the gym. And this was set up 3-4 years ago to make sure people are healthier. There's no point of as Steve Jobs said, billions of dollars are useless if you don't have your health. And we follow that to the T. But what we saw was many people were getting free memberships, but it's you can call it the fatigue of travel, coming to work, going back home, and then going to gym, and it's maybe not happening for a lot of people. And then we got hit by pandemic, right? And when we got hit by pandemic, it was middle of March. We were in New Jersey. It was cold. Nobody was going outside, and everybody was scared that what really happened, what's going to happen in next month or 2 months or so and so forth, right? And same thing applied to us. So, me coming from an Indian background, the first thing I did was next 30 days, I only ate Indian food, anything and everything possible.
Sure.
And what happens after you eat Indian food, day in and out?
Right.
You get to pack some weight.
Right.
And that started happening, and I was, growing at the speed of light.
Sure.
And then when the weather warmed up, I started, running outside in April and so forth. And then it brought in some improvement in my own personal life. And that's when I floated the idea to Amanda that, it's not just us. There are many other people who are in the similar situation. This pandemic may take a year or two or longer if we are not lucky. And we can, somehow run the business. That's secondary part. The primary part is our health. What's going to happen to our health? We are not interacting with individuals. It's taking enough toll on our mental health. We are not going outside, and we are scared. We are not doing enough physical activity, and that's taking a toll on our physical health. Right. Now, physical health now then gonna further again take toll on your mental health, because you could do something then you couldn't do something. Right. So that conversation got serious. Went to HR, got even more serious. On my personal side, what we ended up doing was that, okay, this pandemic is going to take longer. Right. We are working from home anyways. Why don't we go to Dallas and work from there, which is much warmer, and we can always be outside. And then on the company side, when it went to HR, they started brainstorming certain ideas, and eventually we all signed up for an app where it's the HR promotes with the within the company, and you as an employee you can sign up for an app. You can find a buddy and you compete along with that buddy, and you may be using Fitbits or Apple Watch or even phone, and it tracks what you're doing, like all the health, but then it brings in the information which aggregates that, okay, you and your buddy are getting some points, and those points could be yoga, or somebody ran, or somebody did cycling, or whatever physical activity which can be counted and attributed towards points. And we were surprised how successful it got. Wow. So initially, it kind of started from me. So I was enjoying the #1 ranking in that list. Mm-hmm. Within a month, employees took me over. I was from #1 to #10. Mm-hmm. And, normally anybody loses, they get, sad. And it was happiness because I was successful in that mission. And, we all expanded that program to other teams and so on and so forth. And in fact, my daughter once saw me. She's 7 years old. She saw me what I was doing, and she in fact signed up as well.
Oh, wow.
So she goes for a walk with me sometimes. 7-year-old, a mile walk here and there, and doesn't even complain when she sees her number rising up. So yeah, that's how it pretty much, I would say, started for us.
Sure. I think, Amanda, you also saw your resume. You're also into hot yoga and Zumba and so on and so forth. So what kind of inputs you gave to this, to this exercise of yours, making people healthier?
Sure. So I think we started off as a fit challenge, and I sent it as a recommendation
Right.
to our team that when they were brainstorming that, we should start a fit challenge. Let's see what we come up with, and that's when we started with coming up with the app. And I was really impressed with the level of organization the team did. That we just floated an idea and they came up with the whole system, which was really impressive. And they now set up challenges on monthly basis. And the team votes on what should be the name of the challenge. And then also we do announce winners on our virtual all hands-on meeting, which is also monthly basis. So I think from the same, echoing what Sukhbir said, that we just floated an idea and the teams came up with the solution,
Right.
and a really organized solution, which was really impressive.
Fantastic. I think I saw a blog article on your website, also on the same topic. So people are who are seeing the show, or they can go to Addteq website and kind of see what exactly they did and get inspired, and maybe you can implement at your workplaces as well. It looks like an amazing thing that these guys are doing. So great thing, great stuff, guys. Let me get into the DevOps. People who don't know what DevOps is, what do you say? How do you define DevOps for people? And as an Addteq, you guys are into DevOps, right?
Yeah. So 5 years ago or 6 years ago, DevOps was a word which even investors did not know. So if I'm talking to investors, the first 2 or 3 slides will be to educate them what it is. Now everybody knows, so I won't take too long to explain it. So the concept of DevOps came from the broken team. So in olden times, especially in waterfall,
Right.
People had very siloed teams. There is a development team, there is a build team, there is a deployment team, there is a QA team, there is a production team.
Right.
And they don't talk to each other. Once people toss the code to production and some issue happens, the production guys don't know what really happened, and so on and so forth. So the DevOps basically connects these two, development and operations, together and bring them closer. And so you can use people, processes, and product to make things happen. And the objective is to break all these barriers so the customer gets the best experience. Something is wrong in production, somebody from production should be able to get easily to somebody from development and help in solving the problem and improve the customer experience.
Right. Fantastic. So I know that you have some amazing products that you guys are building. First one is Excelentable, and that collaborates all your spreadsheets. But I'm more interested in Unstoppable, which
Sure.
seems to be the app for the visually impaired. So can you talk a little bit about it, and what is that you're building with that app, and how that's helping the entire ecosystem of visually impaired over there?
Sure. Being a DevOps company, and we started as a DevOps services company, we quickly became partners with Atlassian, and Atlassian is considered one of the leaders in DevOps. They have at least five hit products and 10 to 15 products focused around anything and everything DevOps. They used to have a chat tool as well, which they a couple of years ago sold to Slack. And when we started working with them, Atlassian created, a really nice ecosystem where not only it's an ecosystem, but they also have a marketplace. Similar to Apple App Store and Google Play Store. There are more than 4,000 apps on Atlassian Marketplace. And the model Atlassian came up with was, since it's an Australian company, keep the products cheap and let people buy add-ons on top of it to do what really they want to do. And so they keep their costs low. And one of those things which we came across was, while we were talking to our customers, one customer brought in a point that these tools are awesome, but we want to make products which are accessible for people. We want to make products accessible for people. We want to hire people who can test these products. To give a simple example, if the Domino's wants to test if a blind person can order a pizza using their website, they will need to hire at least one individual who can test their website, place an order, do the whole complete QA round. And then if this person finds bugs, issues, whatever else, can open tickets in Jira, read requirements in Confluence, and complete the whole loop. But if he cannot use Jira and Confluence, he or she cannot provide feedback. And that was when that challenge was first presented. Even we didn't know what to do with it. I had no idea how a visually impaired person uses computer. I have never really interacted that closely with a visually impaired person. So we started brainstorming, and Amanda came up with a really good idea. She reserved my time with the Blind Institute in New Jersey, where I spent a few days learning and understanding how they use computer. What do they expect? What do they don't expect? Some other subtleties what we provide as a software, some other things which we don't provide but they expect. So once I went through that, then at one point it was just like epiphany that, okay, yeah, this is how it works. It's easy. After that point, after Steve Jobs showed everybody an iPhone, everybody was like, yes, it's easy. So kind of similar way. And then we started, we used an approach that, let's make it as a product which somebody can just buy from Atlassian Marketplace. And then it should be so seamless that it should automatically detect a visually impaired user and automatically enhance the screen so they can get a better output from it. And things, luckily my development team easily was able to execute the ideas which I conceptualized. And we got a working product out of the door within a couple of quarters. Now we are actually at a point where we recently launched an auto detection feature. We are working with very large organizations, financials, and government institutions all over the world. Actually, I had a presentation with NASA a couple of weeks ago, and they also were pretty impressed by the product. And in the future, we are also looking at integrating it with Amazon Alexas and Google Homes. And today I was reading something about the new feature which they released, where the app itself can do the translation.
I see. Okay.
So if somebody is using, let's say, these tools, Jira or Confluence, and the person does not speak English,
Right.
that translation will happen on the fly for them, and it can accommodate more people once that release comes out.
That's great. Yeah, that's really great. I mean, this really is, it's really amazing that what you guys are doing here, and it's interesting. What would be, something that you would like to tell the entrepreneurs who are trying to get into this kind of, applications? The two broad things that you've learned, and then if you look back, I would have started these two things, way before anything else from your experience of building this Unstoppable, and for people who are starting now, might want to learn.
Quite a few things, but there are a few things which are really important for an entrepreneur. We get too busy in building products,
Right.
that we forget to build companies for investors.
Right.
I was reading this one book where the statement was, we think we build companies for products, but we actually need to build companies for the investors. So I came across that same issue as well at one point. What happens is, we're so busy building the products that what works for an investor, right? What they look for in an income statement, what they look for in a balance sheet. A startup founder for the first 3 or 4 years doesn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Right. And I would say that's the first thing which somebody should learn, because if you treat your business that you are going in for funding today, you will always be ready, and it will not take you a year or two to get to that point. The second advice I would like to add is believe in yourself.
Right.
And if you believe in yourself, regardless of what you're building, it will definitely work. And sometimes when people think you're crazy, that's when you're right.
Yep.
If it's simple enough, then everybody will do it.
Everybody will do it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I'll give you one story about Unstoppable. When we were creating Unstoppable and the customer we were working with, I had negotiated a deal with the customer that I will give you X amount of discount, but Addteq will hold the IP.
Okay.
A lot of people thought I was under bad drugs. That why do you want to discount a product, and who is going to buy this product? Now I speak to the same individuals and they are like, oh, you foresaw this thing, because no, I believed in myself.
Very interesting.
And now, we started with one customer who kind of sponsored the project to where we are today. We have hundreds of customers across the globe, banks and large agencies in Australia to America. And I would say, if I have to just name 3 or 4 customers, like US Army, US Navy, US Air Force, NSA, NASA, they just keep expanding the use of Unstoppable from one agency to another agency.
That's really interesting. It's really interesting. So, going back to let's change gears a little bit here to so you guys are a power couple. Obviously, you guys are building the company as co-founders, wife and husband. So, building companies is not easy. Obviously, everyone knows it, but especially with co-founders, you always, get into I'm sure when building companies as co-founders, you have some conflicts. You want to build things differently. How do you handle those issues as a couple? I'll start with Amanda here in terms of, okay, how do you agree to disagree and keeping your personal relationship away from the company, or is that commingled here?
Sure. Well, to start with, he doesn't have any here, so we can't pull any, right? So that works out well. So I guess, yeah, so I think it's, we've been working together for almost 15 years now. And we known each other for 20. And I think throughout this growth, we have learned each other's strengths and weaknesses. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it does get, used to get in the way when we were small enough and we worked too many times together. And I think maybe the egotism and the megalomania ideas of each other. But I think we always pivoted quickly to support each other's ideas. And that have, I would say, brought us here. And now we have maybe became professional at keeping those boundaries. But yeah, it's definitely a learning curve. And you're growing as a couple, growing into your relationship, and also at the same time, your professional relationship. And we are still learning. I'm sure there will be times that I do want to pull his hair, but he doesn't have any, so I have to think.
So, well, that's a good thing, at least for Sukhbir. So, well, that it's always interesting to see, especially couples like you, also co-founders, building a company with the same vision, and learning through that journey, who can really pass on to other couples who want to build their companies, and it's at times it's really great that you're taking these challenges home and also solving it there, and coming back with fresh ideas the next day, I guess. But most importantly, I'm sure everyone has a vision to start something, and you must have vision started back in 2006. And how did that vision evolve along the years? Is that still, is it in line with your with what you thought about in 2006? I'm sure people pivot, but is that vision still reoccurring, or is it changing? What did you guys do?
Sure. Sukhbir, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Anyone?
Yeah. So I think when we started back in 2006, we were pretty young and not married yet, and we were living together in New Jersey. And Sukhbir already had started his company in India before, which he closed to move to US to continue his education.
Sure.
And he always had great ideas and what he wants to do. And one night we were out drinking at a bar. As I said, we were young, and it was Saturday night or Sunday night, something like that. Right. And I was like, I dared him to open the company. And we started out as a sub-vendor and providing DevOps services to government. And we were doing a lot of teaming activities. And I would say, if we look at it right now, it sounds like a really bad model we started off with, but at the same time, that model have evolved. We were just started to stepping into services business, which we had no experience in, except that we had technical skills. And I had no sales experience. And our first order we got from a prime vendor, and I remember calling Sukhbir, and he didn't pick up, and they were asking me for a PO, and I'm like, okay, what is that? And I had to Google it to find out. And from there, I think becoming services company and then becoming a lasting partner, we landed a lot of our direct customers and enterprise customers. From there, we evolved into kind of looking into customers' needs and where the gaps were in the Atlassian ecosystem. and develop those products. So I guess the vision was always to build something great and cutting edge. That vision still stays, but maybe now is concise to grow our products in that direction. And I'm sure Sukhbir has something to add to that as well.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so after I shut down my company in India, the objective was to provide cheaper computers to everyone back in 97, 98, but not a whole lot of people in India had computers. And I tried everywhere to get funding or get loan or whatsoever. I never got success anywhere, but I got an advice from somebody that nobody will understand you. So if you want to do something similar, go to US and do that. And I was coming here for my master's anyways. So when I came here for master's, I looked around. I was like, okay, the business which could have been a really thriving business in India, over here it's an outdated business. There are Deols, there were Compacts, there were Gateway.
Right.
They had that Carl looking logo, and so many other companies which were already enterprise level companies. So I immediately dropped the idea. And then September 11 happened.
Yep.
I was struggling for 2 years to find a job. Actually 2.5 years to be precise. So I found a job somewhere at the end of 2004. And I was so shaken up, scared, student loans, debt by not being on a job and all those things. I got a job at that point, and then I was still trying to get rid of all that debt I collected over the time.
Sure.
And Amanda kept pestering me that, okay, you said you had a company, why don't you start a company? You had a company, why don't you start a company? Yeah, and it was a daily activity. Till I gave in. It's like, okay, I'm starting the company. Then the next question was, what are you going to name it? So couldn't figure out what to name. And I was like, since you kept pestering me for the last couple of years, so from 2004 to 2006, I'll name it after you. So she's like, okay, but nobody names the company like Addteq or Amanda Software. So we got creative. We used her initials. So Amanda Deol. Then we used my last initial, Dhillon. So Amanda, Deol, and Dhillon Technologies, we short formed it, became Addteq.
Oh, that's very, very interesting. That's really awesome. Yeah. Good story, guys. I think these are things that really, kind of inspires people to know exactly, it's not all not smooth rides all the time. There's certain things that, you might have to take those steps to start these companies and become what you are today. So again, congratulations on all the success you have so far and continued success. The second, I think we are almost 15 minutes more for this call, but just wanted to have lot more questions to ask here. But let's choose the top 3-4 questions for now. I think one of the interesting topics always people ask me is scaling. I know you guys, obviously scaled. I think I'm not sure how big is the company at this point of time. What are certain things that you do for scaling your company? How do you retain your top talent, which is very important, for any company to sustain?
Sure. I would say scaling is, different for product company. It's for services company. So we started as, I won't even call the first part of the company journey as the Addteq journey, which is 2006 to 2012, because we were still figuring out what we need to do. So when 2013, we started as a services company, and we wanted to eventually transform into a product company. Right now, we are at a middle of not in the middle, I would say. We are more of a product company today and less of a services company. I would say services requires a different discipline.
Right.
Product requires a different discipline. You cannot mix them together.
Sure.
It's much more easier to retain top talent with product. It's much more easier to encourage people to do something different when it comes to product. When it comes to services, yes, you can still do all those same, but it requires you to flip different knobs to inspire people to do different things. And I would say if you're a product company, do 2-3 things that helps you retain talent. One is, never cheat your customer. Right? Be really honest to your customer. Second, be really honest to your employees.
Right.
If you have customers, you have business. If you have employees, you have business. If these two go away, you have nothing.
Sure.
Third, invest in technology. Invest in people learning new things. When people are constantly learning new things, they don't need to go anywhere. They will implement that inside.
Right.
To give you an example, when we started working on Excellent Table, so a 2-minute Excellent Table pitch, we saw that when people started using Atlassian Confluence, especially large enterprise, they use Confluence in their private cloud. And we saw they started moving away from Microsoft Word. They use Confluence for everything. And what we noticed was that when these group of people need to embed something as a spreadsheet or a table or a fancier formula table, there was no such option in Confluence. So people would use spreadsheets on their computer and then email to each other or attach it, or sometimes forget to attach it, and so on and so forth. Nobody ever know what's the latest version of it.
Right.
So that's where that idea came from, that, okay, let's put that in Confluence so you can use, use the benefits of Excel as well as Word within one same location, fully embedded, full integration. And then we came across one challenge. If 2 people are opening spreadsheet together, and one person saves first and the second person doesn't get those changes, that person still is looking at the stale data, right? So how do you solve that problem? Collaborative editing.
Interesting.
Right. So collaborative editing, basically what Google provides, right? Multiple people are editing spreadsheet. You can see them moving on everywhere.
Right.
We did not have this in 2017.
Right.
So my team was having challenge to implement a POC. And instead of, standing over there as a boss, yelling at them and so on and so forth, I took that challenge upon myself without letting anybody know in the company. I checked out the code. One of the weekend, my wife was planning to go to pool with my daughter, who was around, I believe, 3 years old at that time. And I took my laptop with me. Obviously, I have to keep my wife happy as well. So that's like, I'll accompany you, but I need to do this thing. So I started working on the POC for collaborative editing. 2 hours later, I got done with the POC.
Wow.
I spent time with them. And then I came to office on Monday morning. I showed it to my team, and one of the guys who is, he gets supercharged when he sees new technology, kind of similar to, when Captain America got a shot and he became Captain America. He gets supercharged when he sees new technology. So he saw me, he's like, okay, I am working on this. And that was my whole intention, motivate the team. right?
Very
He
interesting.
got motivated. He brought 4 more into the group. Okay, let's do this thing. This thing can take us somewhere. And the rest is history. Now we are the only app out of the 4,000 apps on Atlassian marketplace which provides collaborative editing.
Fantastic. Very, very impressive. So great stuff, guys. Moving on to so Amanda, how do you, and for both of you actually, how do you guys balance the work life balance app? Obviously, how do you guys do that? In terms of family and obviously with the work we spoke about it a little bit in terms of co-foundership, but work-life balance is something very important. And how do you guys really manage to do that? Do you have any work-life balance to begin with?
All right. I think it's definitely difficult when you have family, you have children, to take the company to next level, right? When we started off, we were single and very less to lose and could spend a lot of time. And I would say that when we were in New Jersey, we kind of built our life in, I think it was like 2.5 miles radius that we lived there. Office was there, our daughter's school was there, train was there. But I did regret, taking our daughter to school. I would say that it takes a village to raise the child, and her school shared a parking lot with our office. So the whole office could drop her and bring her back. It was amazing. And then I would be like a train to New York, coming back and call somebody from office and bring her back to office. So I'd say we always tried to have that balance. We always wanted to drop our daughter to school, pick her up when the time permits, make her lunches, read to her. I would say during pandemic, it's also maybe to us been blessing and a curse at the same time, that it made us realize how much we were running around. I think there was one time Sukhbir has been to 16 airports in a month, and quite crazy, very less sleep. And now I would say we are home and we kind of like it. It's not relaxing, but at the same time, we can grill during dinner. We've been grilling our most dinners. Sukhbir does that. We can. We've been teaching our daughter at home for almost a year now. She just went back. We graduated virtual schooling. I would say we have more work-life balance. There was a time we hardly we definitely stopped working on weekends because our daughter's home and we don't want her to be sitting on iPad and, us working. Sure. And especially during COVID, we were not able to have that extra help at home too. So we had to make changes in life. I would say we made sure there was always a room to improve, and we can still improve. So do you want to add anything I missed?
Yeah, I would say if your wife says, let's go to the pool, bring your laptop with you. No, don't do that.
I noted.
No, don't do that.
So we have definitely we have like 7-8 minutes left in the session. Before opening up, some Q&A to people, please type your any questions you have in the chat window. I'll get to that in a minute. Our last session is always a bit more relaxing than other sessions that we have on this startup grind. It's called rapid fire question. So we'll just see you can. Well, I'll ask the questions. One for Sukhbir, one for Amanda. You guys can take it, whichever it is. Let's start with Sukhbir then. Team or single founder?
Team.
All right, awesome. Business plan, yes or no, Amanda?
Yes.
Perfect. Now let's do the cats or dogs.
Right now, debatable. No pets right now.
No problem. But beer or wine? Who wants to take it?
Wine.
Good choice. But you okay?
Yeah, white, Scotch if possible.
Sushi or tacos? Who wants to take it?
Sushi.
Sushi.
Okay. What's your? I'll ask you both of you guys. What's your favorite app?
What's my favorite app? Excellent, Deol.
All right. other than Addteq, what would be the first one? And your iPhone or any
Instacart.
Oh man. Okay. All right. What's your go to karaoke song if you have anything?
Back to the bone.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. One last question. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke or Pepsi?
Technically neither, but if there's no other option, then I would say Coke.
All right. Let's end this with all right. Favorite book of any of yours?
Uh,
I know you have a lot of books, but if not favorite, that's still.
I would say Steve Jobs. It helped me open up so many things and helped me. I would say there was a point where I was confused about a lot of stuff, and I'm talking about 11 years ago. And Steve Jobs' book actually helped me figure out what I really needed to do at that point.
Fantastic. That's a good choice.
Rainmaker. It was a gift from one of my clients, and when I was just getting into sales, it definitely helped me how to present myself to our clients. So I think Rainmaker was one of the easy read.
That's very good choice again. All right, so that ends our rapid fire question here, but let me see if I have any questions from the attendees here today. Guys, any questions for our speakers today? Feel free to type in your questions. While you're doing that, again, I just want to thank our sponsors, Comerica, who's actually been helping us do all their events from day one, who believed in us. Thank you, Comerica, and also a lot of other partners who do help us behind the scenes over here. I want to thank Massage Lux, and they're in South Lake. Go visit them; they're amazing. And we have UC Mass, who's also been helping us. So Addteq and Action ADI. Thank you all. Again, if you do not have any questions, Sukhbir and Amanda, it was really great chatting with you both. A lot of great insights. Please do come back, and we'd like to learn more. I think we only just scraped the paint here. A lot of things to learn. Good luck with all your new products, new services, and with Addteq, and all the very best.
Thank you, Rame.
Yep, thanks for having us.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.